Hello and welcome to my new podcast. So, this is my second podcast. My first was Crossing the Content Chasm. And this time we're going with Creating the Curve because I absolutely love alliterations with the letter C, apparently. So, this one's a bit of a step in a different direction to my previous one because I've been doing a lot of work with entrepreneurs recently, and so particularly STEM entrepreneurs. So we thought, let's do a podcast that is specifically aimed at STEM entrepreneurs that helps them navigate the world of business, which is incredibly difficult. As a business owner myself, I totally understand. So I've got a wonderful guest on today, the Robert Bentley, wonderful grant writing extraordinaire. I'm selling you here, Robert. Author of wait. Got if you're watching the video, it's on video. Grant writing by his pseudonym Donald R. Melgren. And welcome to the show, Robert Bentley.
Thanks for having me on, Anna. I'm looking forward to the next 45 minutes or so, and yeah, just uh, pouring out whatever it is that we might find helpful for some of your listeners. I've got a wealth of a wealth of expertise. I, I'm a seasoned veteran bid writer, so yeah, hopefully I can answer some of the questions that you can you're going to shoot me with.
I'm wondering whether I should have put some more difficult questions in now, just because of your experience. Oh, it's about 25 years you've been doing this, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, probably near. Yeah, I'm certainly I'm well into my third decade, which which
Oh,
which
wow.
can sound ancient. I've had to start forgetting things now in order to make headspace for this new uh, grant-related um, uh, material that I need to sort of squeeze in there. So all the new stuff, all the new funding rounds, all the new programs. It's got to I've got to get all my European Social Fund info jettisoned to make space for some new Innovate UK exciting grant opportunities. There's only so much space in there. I've got a limited hard drive.
I know the same. Yeah, I'm from a technology background, and over the last sort of 25 years since I did my sort of degree in computing, I feel like some of that old stuff is still sitting in there. I mean, Novell networks was one of the things that I worked on in my degree, and I don't think they actually even exist anymore. But there's still a little bit retained information there. I mean, that plus all the characters from Pokemon and Bakugan and Transformers, all their names and their moves that my son's pushed in there as well. So I need to start. I think maybe need a reformat of my brain drive.
I had to learn Fortran at uni, so that was along with the BBC Basic, learning strings and how to put things together, and spending an entire practical session putting um, programs together, and then of course running them, and they either worked or they didn't work, and then you switched off and lost it, or you printed it off on a dot matrix, and that was your homework.
I love it. I do. It's funny because that kind of leads quite nicely into our topics today on grant writing. Because the reason I want to start this podcast is because everything in business moves so quickly. Every single aspect from marketing to sales, you're always being told this is the next big thing, this is the new thing. And as business owners, it's incredibly hard to keep up with what's happening, what's going on. Also, if you're new to business and actually you've never experienced any of this stuff before, learning what's best practice, to do. And grant writing, I know, is one of the biggest areas that I find with the entrepreneurs that I work with. They find it overwhelming, absolutely baffling, full of jargon, rules that they don't understand because there's this sort of unwritten guidelines between it. And could you tell me sort of like some of those sort of difficulties that particularly STEM entrepreneurs, maybe from a technical background, might find within within sort of grant writing and sort of, mistakes that they might make regularly that sort of they might be able to avoid?
Yes, it's very easy for someone who is not familiar with how grant funding works to be somewhat overwhelmed and just put off by the amount of work that's involved. I mean, grants are, to an extent, free money. I mean, they do come with strings. You've got to deliver things, so that it's quite different to a loan in that respect. And they're absolutely vital to help companies start and scale up and grow. So they really are. Important opportunities to look for. And I've worked with private companies, large firms, educational institutions, not-for-profit organizations, and the sort of the mistakes that they make are common to all of them. And I can go through a few of those. I mean, one of them, if you think of a target and you're firing an arrow, you want to get it in the bullseye, and absolutely spot
Yeah.
on and win the money. So many first timers. I'm the same. I wasn't successful first time. I've only ever learned by doing. First time, you'll probably miss the target altogether. And one of the key reasons for that is that you haven't aligned your project proposal with the funder's mission and priorities. You perhaps, applicants have focused too much on their own goals, on what they want to what they want to say about themselves, rather thinking about the funder. So it's that Venn diagram. You've got things you want to say, the funder's got things that they want to hear, and it's that little bit in the middle that you've got to grow so that you're talking in one voice. And if you take an example, for instance, if you can imagine a a, a startup that's got some fantastic AI system for autonomous driving, for instance. So it's some great cutting edge technology, and they apply to a foundation that wants to improve public transportation in an urban area. So in their proposal, the business gets very excited all about their algorithms, their
Yeah.
fusion technique, the way in which they'll develop their personal vehicle or autonomy, but they fail to understand what the funder is really interested in, which is about how to enhance public transit systems or reducing urban congestions. They're the key priorities for the funder. So when they get sort of the big reject stamp on their application, I think, well, it's a fantastic application, and from a technology perspective, it's really good. But it's totally missed the target in what the funder was actually looking for. So it's an example of how you need to research the funder's priorities and tailor your proposal accordingly. That is the number one mistake, if you like. That's the number one sort of learning point that you need to sort of bear in mind.
It's very much what I've seen as well. It's you end up with the grant looking like a technical specification for this project, and it's sort of like a something you'd see on a company's website where it's sort of marketing the product, this huge specification. It's all about, it's very me centered, and you're like, oh, where's the bit about the customer on here? I often teach, two yous to one we. So in marketing, and I feel like it's similar applies to a grant writing. It's very much that sort of marketing mindset of making sure that you're doing customer focused writing.
Yeah, and if you're applying to, for instance, say a local authority or a government body, basically the way to approach it. So, well, these organisations, there are grants here, but what they're effectively doing, they're public bodies, and they are buying jobs. They are buying
Mm,
business growth. They're buying environmental improvements. They're buying social and welfare improvements. They're buying health improvements. That's what they're looking for. So they will offer a grant of 50, £100,000, but there's some very specific things they want to achieve. So even if you've got a piece of technology that helps people do helps people enable them to take more care of themselves in the home rather than go to the health centre or see a
mm,
doctor, and there's some more sort of wizardry that enables them to get some online support through an app that helps them, for instance, with their mobility or taking their pills or whatever it might be. That's the benefit. So in a marketing world, this is where bid writing and marketing align. It's all about your value proposition and the benefits to the funding organization, and the benefits to the
mm.
the, the end user, and it's the old what's in it for me phrase. So that's they're the key things that the applicants need to bear in mind. It's not, well, of course they should fund my business because we're great. Is the wrong mindset. That won't get you anywhere, because otherwise we'd be supporting everybody. It's very, very competitive, so you have to learn how to um, stand above the other applicants, and the way to do that is to align what it is that you're proposing very closely to what funders are looking for, and then keep it very clear. Keep your
Mm,
the objectives of your project proposal um, smart, effectively, and you're defining the outputs and the impacts for the organization, so the organization can not only sort of understand the project, but actually what the project's going to achieve. It's um, very important that they can understand the impact of your proposal, as well as what it is. What
mm.
is it that can achieve the outcomes?
And when people are writing proposals, the one thing that I always find, as well as the technical side, is that they find they don't have enough time and they struggle, particularly for the smaller companies that may have like just a two or three or a few people. So they get, they take quite a long time. So they need a lot of research, need a lot of prep. How can teams that have have limited resource, do you recommend doing grants, and how do they do them? How do they actually get the time to do that amongst their work?
Yeah, I had a phone call from uh, I know he's a student or recent graduate, and he wanted help with he wanted someone to look over his application, and I said, is this an application for a smart grant to Innovate UK? He said, yes it is. I said, well, when's the deadline for this? And he said, tomorrow. And I said, well, I said, do you want some advice? Yes, please. Yes, please. I said, don't submit it. Wait for the next round, and spend 2 or 3 months working on it, and developing. The things that a small team can do is, first of all, they've got to assess their own grant readiness. They've got to get bid ready.
Mm,
So you've got to make sure that your organization is really prepared with your own up-to-date mission statements, your own strategic plan, your own organizational profile. You've got to do the groundwork to make sure that you've got policy documents in place to support the applicant, because what the fund is interested in is, basically, who are you? What is it that you're offering? Can you do what we're asking? Can you prove it? And how much is it going to cost? So
mm,
there's sort of five things that you need to sort of bear in mind. So it's possible with a small team to get your roles defined. So you've got someone who's the primary writer, who's doing the finance, someone who's doing the editing, and someone less close to it is doing the editing and the proofreading. So they're sort of the main functions, and then use there are grant databases and directories to help you find um,
Mm.
grant opportunities, and you can use search criteria to see how those align with your own organization and mission, and then you have to sort of cherry pick, really see which opportunities would give you the best chance of success. So having a very targeted approach. So if you know, for instance, that there's a you know a national agency like Innovate UK, where the chances of being successful are one in 20, but you could win £250,000 versus a local authority. I mean, we're coming up to the beginning of the financial year, so they're offering £10,000 to support businesses in their patch to grow. And if I was that business, I'd go for the 10 grand because and put a really good case together. So it's
Yeah.
it's 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 looking at prioritizing opportunities and giving yourself a decent lead in time, and get the infrastructure um, um, assembled within your organization. Get yourself bid ready.
I remember one of the places I used to work at, when we used to do a lot of tenders and grants. We used to have a sort of almost a living, breathing Word document which had sort of sections of information that we could just pull out quickly. And sort of it was almost like a little mini database of things, and uh, bits and bobs. Do you recommend even getting that ready before you've even seen the grant? Sort of start putting this information into a big Word document and pulling bits out of your history, your employees, your company, just to sort of get a sort of pre-handle on it.
Yeah, yeah, certainly developing. I'm all for. I'm very environmentally friendly. I'm up for recycling text, and developing reusable content. So absolutely, Anna, you can have yeah, a 50 word description of your business organization, what it does. You can have a 100 word. You can have a 200 word. If you get the opportunity, you start to draft those, and keep a library of content in terms of your products and services, what you do, how you meet various policies,
Mm,
your approach to sort of training development, certainly team profiles. I mean, from the CVs that you might have, you need to put together potted profiles of everyone. They all take time as well. um,
mm,
there's a lot you can prepare, beforehand, down to understanding um, what the win themes of an organization is. So if an organization, a local authority or an agency will be putting out more grant opportunities, get to know them really well, and see
mm,
how your projects, how your services align with what they are looking for, and go to network events. Meet with these people, phone them up, engage with them on LinkedIn. Ask cheeky questions like, when is this program going to be launched? If they just said, it's coming, so, well, when is it coming? And try and understand what it is that they really want, that might not be in the specification.
yeah. Yeah, the one thing that I find I do quite regularly, because as if the audience don't know, that not only do I own my own business, but I'm innovation director at Firm Innovation Centre, and part of my role, I use Grant Finder, and I'm always digging out sort of grants for people, but I also get to know the local councils, sort of government, just to sort of keep my ear on the ground. Part of the local defence cluster, and you'll see things popping up in random places that you've not expected. I find it very good. The defence cluster, they're always popping in new sort of tenders and grants and interesting things that might might be useful to people. So it's really good keeping your ear on the ground, or being part of a community maybe that are all sort of helping each other with spotting these things. I find, like I said, mentioned clusters, my local sort of business communities, they're all sharing interesting tidbits. This isn't for me, but it might suit someone else. It's a good way to maybe lighten that load, so you're not always looking at stuff for yourself.
Yes, in the same ways, if your business is part of a wider network, a wider community,
Mm,
it used to be getting up early and going to breakfast. Now a lot more of it is online. But
yeah.
however whatever the nature of the relationships with organisations, in the same way as we pass referrals to each other. If you need a chimney swept, and someone else knows a really good person to do that for you, then that's helped me. That's helpful. Likewise, if you let people know what the business is that you're engaged in and what you're looking to do, and and your future plans, people will empathize with that, and say, well, actually, I've heard of this particular
Mm.
grant fund. It's not for us, but it might well suit yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking about we were talking about the technical founders, and you were saying about the team. Do you recommend sort of different types of personalities and teams? So, yeah, they often end up, and the ones that I've seen, a lot of the grant writing, it is a technical specification, and I think sometimes it's written by the founder who maybe was or is the key programmer. It tends to have the technical team on it. What sort of types of people do you recommend? I guess if they haven't got anyone not technical, that's where, someone like yourself, Robert, will come in, because you can translate that sort of technical language into what you think the funding place is gonna want. I'm just gonna plug in that Robert's won over 80 million pounds worth of money in grants, I believe, from for people. So it works really well. So when should they bring someone like yourself in, and who should they sort of, from a personality type and a skill set type, who should they have?
It's a really good question, and one of the I'm currently working on an article for uh, LinkedIn, that's around. Basically the topic is bid writing isn't just about bid writing, and in brackets it'll be thank goodness, for reasons that we might come on to shortly. Yes, you'll need a scribe. People think that that's what the bid writer is. The bid writer is a scribe with a pen in one hand and a magic wand in the other, that can take all the knowledge that you've been working on, over the years, all your insight into your own products and services. He's going to magically plug into your corporate USB port, and download that into his or her brain, and it's all going to come out wonderfully in some prose. Um, the bid writer, especially if if they're not familiar with your type of business and
Mm,
your sector and what it is that they do, you have to treat them as a lay person, a lay writer, and you have to explain to them, exactly what it is that you do, and talk through the services, and the role of that person will be, effectively, to sort of translate what it is that you're saying into words and a format that will appeal to a piece of, to a funders. In the way I was talking about earlier on, it's matching what it is that you do with what a funder is
mm,
looking for. So that's part of the craft. So that doesn't involve any writing, but that does involve quite a lot of soft skills and communication skills, uh, and,
yeah.
and, and and project management, and strategy, and finance. And I could go on with various things that you need, which is why it's not a it's not on a university syllabus. You know, you don't get a degree in bid writing. You get a degree in marketing, or as I did in in botany, and then you go on and do a master's in something that's relevant, like local economic development, and you get excited about it. I get excited about it. Not yeah. I like to think still just you ask to do something, and you hand in your homework, and somebody marks it, and it's all very dry. You know, it's not particularly exciting, but it's getting the results. The
Mm.
results that you get are the really exciting part of it. You know, I've worked with some terrific people over the years, and we've done some great work, and achieved some great projects together. So it's in terms, coming back to your question, yeah, you've got to, yeah, if you're looking to bring someone in, it's got to be someone that really gets your organization, and
Mm.
really wants to help. Bid writers will always go the extra mile. I mean, if we're doing a commercial basis, we'll fund, we'll charge for, a fee for a certain job, but we will always throw in the extra hours just to get it over the line. So if you've got if you're working in the health sector or the education sector, or the social welfare, or it's an exciting tech project, you need someone that will understand that and work with you, because they will they will mesh with your team, and they will also pester you for information. And if they're not getting what they need, they'll come back to you with a big shopping list of, I need this information, this information,
Mm.
they will go off and do their own research, but come back to you and say, this is stuff that only you know, and you need to explain this to me, and I need to be able to understand it. And there's tools that we can use to sort of help us with that. So we'll probably touch on that towards the end, in terms of how AI tools and other transcription tools can help us in the process. And
Yeah.
we started right at the beginning in terms of how industry has transformed and technology has transformed businesses over the years. Bid writing is another sector that has been hugely transformed in the last just in the last 18 months.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was interesting. I was reading about in your book. Oh, look, I'm going to show it to the screen for anyone that's watching the video again. Grant writing, Donald R. Melgren, which it is more aimed at the US market, but I found it really useful. You know, there's such lots of tips there, and there's when you've got technical people that are writing a bid. I loved your details of like talking about storytelling, where you said it needs a plot and it needs characters, and I thought that really brought it to life for me, in how to story tell, how you put all these different aspects in. And you gave the example, I think it was of Animal Farm, with the characters. And would you could you sort of talk a little bit more about this sort of storytelling aspect? Because I think that's really important. Yeah, as an ex-marketeer, that's the big thing about marketing as well. It's about the storytelling. So I'd love to sort of hear more about that. Sort of, we've touched on that, not making it too technical. How do we sort of build up that storytelling aspect?
Yes, it is. We could do a whole hour on storytelling,
Yeah.
in its own right, because it is just such a wonderful craft, and it goes back to, you know, when our parents used to tell us stories, when granny or granddad would come round and talk about the olden days. They bring something to life. So you might have read about something, about what the town was like in the 50s, for instance, and they've actually walked the streets, during that time, and can tell you about it. So when it comes to bids, you have to think about yourself and your solution as the protagonist. This is the hero or heroine. This is what you're going to this is what you're going to offer. And then uh, the problem, or the challenge, is the antagonist. Is the is the Jekyll to your Hyde. So it's how you craft a story using using evidence to back up what you're saying, and um, just
Mm.
starting to underpin your track record, just to sort of shore up your own technical abilities, but then say, well, actually, you know, if we yeah to illustrate to yeah so we'll do this for you, we'll do it in this way, we've got this service or product, it's proven technology, and we've you know, and we've got this evidence to show that it's needed and it's the right sort of solution for your sort of problem, and here's a case study, and then within that case
Yeah.
study you just illustrate what it is that you've done for another organization or an individual or an agency, and say take them through, well, you know, what was the problem they had at the beginning, why you got involved, what it is that you were able to do with them, what were the outcomes, what were the results, and what was the final impact, and a you know a testimonial from the client, and it's happy ever after. So it's that kind of thing. So you're talking about you know a challenge, how you met the challenge, and what came from it in the end, and yeah, you can do it in the form of a series of you know chapters and statements, and just build up the plot and say, well, you know, no one else would be able to do this. Then we came in and we did it. You know, you know, we slayed the dragon. We conquered the mountain. We beat off the baddies, and took away the princess or the prince. So yeah. It's really really important. And I'll to to quote Uncle Bryn from Gavin and Stacey. I'll tell you for why. So um, you know, in these days of you know AI generated text, you know the thing that the bots won't know are the other stories. Is
Mm.
the color that will bring your application to life, and it's something that is very personal to yourself, your own organization. It makes the application more tangible. It's more emotional, and more importantly, none of the other applicants will have that in their application. And so you know, because we're looking at, you know, if you think of it from an assessor's point of view, they're getting a lot of, you know, they're getting a lot of vanilla applicants that have been put together rather rushed with lots of US English and lots of Z's in them, and lots of words that we don't usually know. And they'll be saying, well, you know, I just, how much of this do I believe? And then you have an application saying, you know, once upon a time, this is where we were, this is what we did, this is the outcome. You know, you're a human putting things down on paper that
Mm.
someone's going to assess, probably about sort of 8 9 o'clock at night, with a glass of Malbec at their side, um, and you know they think, well, I'll just do one more before I turn in, and then they sort of turn over the page, and you hit them with a compelling headline, you know, subheadings that draw them
Mm.
into the story. So it's another part of the grant writer's role, is having a journalistic approach. It's writing it in the kind of language that is accessible to anyone to read.
And, you know, from we've probably got people listening here that have maybe applied for grants and maybe not followed this advice so far because they didn't know how to write a grant, or you know, have never done one before. And so they might have had, you know, lost out on grants, or, you know, been rejected. What would you say for people that have applied for grants, you know, one or multiple ones, and they've, you know, they've not managed to win one yet? what can they do to sort of help up the game apart from sort of implement these things? Is there a sort of review process that you recommend, or what is it they can do? Because they're probably feeling quite disheartened.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is something that Donald writes about in towards the end of the book, which is about mindset, and it's about it's adopting the right kind of mindset to the grant writing process. So if you're first of all, when you're tackling your readiness to write an application, there's a number of challenges. The first challenge is you've got a question, and you've got a huge blank page of paper to work through. So um, you've got to view every challenge as an opportunity, and to sort of make sure you can get some words down and structure it first of all. So the first tip for someone who hasn't been successful is basically, well, it just means that it wasn't the right time. There's your application wasn't successful for a reason. Do go back to the funder and ask them the reasons for that, and learn from it. I did
Mm.
exactly the same when I used to put European social fund bids together, and they my colleague, who was an expert, would come back and say, well, yeah, you only got 40 out of 80. And I said, why did you only get 40 out of 80? Said, well, you didn't say this. And I said, well, it's obvious, isn't it? He said, yes, but you didn't say it. Okay, so sometimes, it's saying what you're going to do, and this is why it's important to you, Mr. or Mrs. Funder. This is what that means. So it's just stressing it. So do get the feedback, and don't get disheartened, because it just means that you're one step nearer being successful. So it's a learning point. You have to pull yourself back up, and say, all right, well, that just wasn't the right grant for that. And actually, when you think about it, if we had have won that money, we'd have had to do this, this, and this, and we don't do this and this. Or if we did, we'd have had to bring somebody in. Or
Mm.
actually, at the end of the day, we'd have lost money on it. So you just evaluate it, um, uh, yeah, objectively, um, and and then say, all right, well, how can we tackle the next one and be successful? Is thinking about making sure you're more ready next time. So you've got all the what we talked about earlier, these up to date content, up to date plans, up to date job descriptions. You've got all your documents in order, and you can write very smart statements about what it is that you're looking to do. So this is things that are specific, measurable, relevant, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Go look it up if you're not sure. But it basically means,
Mm.
we'll be doing this over, in this time we'll be achieving this. We can do it because we've done it before, and we'll do it within sort of 18 months. So have some well defined um, objectives are important. Another thing you can do is build relationships with the funders. So call them up if you haven't heard from them. Call them up, and say,
Yeah.
right, well, sorry we didn't win this time, but we're still really keen to work with you, and we'd like to know, what it is that we can do to improve and understand your requirements more. Better next times round. So that they're things that you can certainly do, and yeah, to think about areas for improvements, and it is uh, a skill that you learn with practice and persistence. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's I say, there's not a degree course in it. What you've done is a learning activity.
Yeah, absolutely. And We touched on like AI a couple of times in this conversation, and I think that's sort of like um quite a big topic at the moment. I mean, particularly for maybe that people that are technical, that they might decide to go to AI to write their grants for them. Um, if they may, if they've failed, at grant writing before, thought, oh, maybe I'll try a different approach. So, what are your thoughts on AI and grant writing? Is it a help or a hindrance, or a bit of both?
Yeah, a bit of both. If you use if you use something like Chat GTP, which seems to be sort of the industry standard at the moment, that's a good starting point. You'll need to sign up to the $25 a month or whatever it is subscription to do take the subscription offer, because uh, yeah, otherwise everything you're saying about yourself will be shared to the wider world. And even with the subscription offer, I'm not totally convinced that your information is that's secure. So security is a big
Mm.
issue. So you might, when you're putting questions into Chat GTP, you might just want to anonymize your organization. So just say, a company, instead of
I use
your company.
Acme Inc. for
That's
anything
that's
that I
that's
put in.
that's right. But you can, basically it will get you 60% of the way there within an hour of playing around with it. So uh, if you set the right prompts for Chat GTP, then that will help you identify funds. You say, well, you know, what what funds are available for I know fintech businesses in the UK at the moment, for instance, and it'll come up with some options that you can then start to um, uh, qualify and identify some further ones that you might want to work with, and it'll probably point to for instance, Innovate UK, and then you can start to query what it is that Innovate UK are looking for. So you can start to build up uh, a, a, a profile of what a funder is actually looking for, and
Mm.
then you can upload your own documents, and say, well, from the attached documents, set out our a concise organizational profile, your objectives, your services, and what it is you're seeking to do, and it'll do that for you. I mean, it'll go off and find it'll go off and imagine stuff for you, and put in some wonderful stuff that from the internet that you might not necessarily do. So you have to be wary of these AI um, uh, tendencies to what we call
Hallucinations.
hallucinate and make up stuff. I mean, that's my job. I don't make up stuff, so I enjoy doing that. So it will very, very quickly get you some really good foundation. It will provide you with the structure, and it will, things like the win, the what are the win themes for this particular local authority? What is it really looking to do? And it'll look at their growth strategies. It'll look at their corporate plans. It'll look at their transportation policies. It'll look at everything and say, well, this is what keeps this local authority awake at night. And it might be around jobs, poverty, transportation, health, and a whole. And then you say, well, we got this list. Now let's go into a huddle. Let's have a meeting and discuss how our solution helps to address some of those win themes. So it'll give you give you a leg up. It'll certainly save you time in your with your preparation. So I would recommend exploring the use of some of these uh, tools like Chat and like Gemini and others. But yeah, just read through the output very thoroughly and make sure that it relates to your organization and
Mm.
it's true to your organization. Because again, going back to what the funder is going to be looking at, the funder will get lots and lots of really high quality, well written applications, no spelling mistakes, no typos, and they won't know, you know, how to compare one against the other. What they will ask themselves is how true are these applications? Have
Mm.
they just put this application in to win the funding, or are they can they genuinely deliver X, Y, and Z? And local authorities, for instance, are now saying, well, yeah, whilst we might approve your grant, if at a further stage we actually find that you know you'll be overstating to some degree what it is you're capable of doing, then we'll we'll award you the grants. They would do their due diligence on you. So and that goes
Yeah.
for all funders. So it's a fantastic tool. It'll get you out the starting blocks. It'll save you time. So if you're a small team, it will save you time. But you still need to put your work into it. You know, I spoke to someone the other day, and they said, well, you know, if I do it on AI, do I have to read through it? Yes, you do.
I think that's the problem with AI. I mean, I love AI. I use it regularly, but you know, I'm ex-PR and copywriter, so I can, you know, I'm good at reading through the text. And the thing that I find with it is it's much better the more content you give it. So, like you said, uploading documents, tone, information. But I find that sometimes it's too surface level. It doesn't go deep into those stories and the quality of content that you might write yourself. So it's sometimes I find you've got, like you said, you've got to put some effort in. You've got to give it some extra depth. You know, it'll write some of the bit of fluff because sometimes I see bits of AI text and I actually don't feel it's actually saying anything. It sounds lovely, but actually it's not got that depth that you really want to get in to showcase who you are, what you're doing. Uh, you know, it's one of those that, and a friend of mine said the other day, she put on her social media, she said, I've actually stopped using Chat GPT because I've stopped coming up with my own ideas. She'd got so reliant on it for social posts, for marketing and other things that she'd actually forgotten how to generate an idea herself. So she'd got so reliant on it. So I always say to people, don't over rely on it because, like you were saying, Robert, it's that learning curve. You know, you learn through doing and trialing and error, and I think if you leave too much to chat gpt, you're probably not going to take it in as well and learn through that process that you would normally.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it's a profession, like any other, and you learn by doing, and you have to make sure that your voice or your
Mm,
organization's voice is heard in the text that you put down. And yes, I mean, I was in a meeting with someone the other day, and this particular point came up, and I said, where did that come from? And they said, oh, it's just one of my ideas. You know, I think I'm going to patent that because I think it's a brilliant idea. And I thought afterwards, it wasn't your idea. That's, I didn't challenge them at the time. So that sounds like something that's been pulled out of the ether somewhere and stuck in there because it sounds good, it sounds good, but it's not what's the word? It's not deliverable in the
yeah.
context of what we were talking about. So it's that kind of approach you need to
Mm,
take. You know, yeah, by all means, you know, get yeah, get started with it, and it's really good for getting your thoughts in order. So one of the things it's really good for is you know we've been talking. You know, we could record this. Well, we have recorded it, and we could take the content and we could squirt it through, you know, an AI bot, and it would give us a, you know, a wonderful script that sounds a lot better than what it actually did in real life.
Yeah.
But it's not real because it hasn't got the ums and ahs and the the pauses and so forth, and the little asides and the idioms. So it's fine for that purpose to get you established. But my ancestors were weavers up in sort of Lancashire, up in the northwest, and I just imagine them, when the first industrial revolution came along, and they were doing other things with their putting it, doing, making all this cloth by hand, and someone comes and builds this huge, noisy, steam-driven factory, and down the hill in the town, and
Yeah.
Grandad was, well, I'm having nothing of that, and within one generation, they're either working in the mill, or they're displaced, which is what my family
Yeah.
did. And they took their trade down to London and became silk weavers, which is which is a finer craft. So this is a good example of, now we're in sort of, this new industrial revolution 4.0. This is what we've got. We've now got this huge mill that processes words, and takes the, as you say, takes the joy, takes the pain, takes all that effort, takes all that time away from us. We
Mm.
we now need to be like the silk weavers. We now need to say, all right, that's fine. We've now got time to talk about the the strategy, what this means, and work at a high level, and make it more real and more deliverable. So it'll improve the end product in terms of your application. But
Mm.
yeah, um, the the skill will still be in taking, understanding what the challenge is, and taking your solution, and creating a powerful, compelling text that wins
Yeah.
the day.
Fantastic. Have you got any last tips at all for our STEM founders that might be listening to this, and anything else you think might be juicy and relevant that they might like?
Apart from buy my book, they can,
Yes.
which is a great start for the, to sort of just ease you into it. And I would say, go and explore some grants. Go and see what there is. There's government grants. There's foundations. There's corporate grants.
Mm.
I would say the first thing is, explore some grants, and get yourself bid ready. Because that takes so much
Mm.
time. So this is making sure that you, as a business, have got a clear mission, a strategic plan, and the capacity to manage the grant projects. Because you need to know where you are going as a business, because all a grant will do is help you to get there. So if you're clear about the direction of your business, and why this grant is particularly important, it makes it that much more compelling. So it's
Yeah.
and the other thing I would say is, don't don't seek grant funding for your core business. Think about grant funding for something that will add value to the business, or will help to open up a new market area. If you
Mm.
put your core business on pause while you spend 6 months on a particular funding opportunity, you'll have really damaged your business. So, if you really need funding, and you've got a strong business, and a great organization, and a good strategy, and great finance to back it up. Look at other funders. Go to the bank, go to other investors for your core business activities. So don't grants aren't there to sort of, pull you along. They'll be there to propel you once you've got to that stage.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of grants recently. We talk about AI. There's sort of some nice little ones for AI training and integrating it into your business. So, if you're not an AI business, you could, that's a nice little side bit for you to start looking into and upskilling your staff, isn't it? And I've seen so just not huge grants, like you said, £10,000 or to sort of just help supplement people's businesses. And it's for any industry. So it's not meant to be your core business. It's supposed to be an extra a little bit to sort of put you above the rest of in your industry, I think.
Yeah, sometimes the support you need is already out there. So
Mm,
well, but actually, what you don't actually want money to get AI to support your business. You actually want to support your business. The money is
mm,
incidental. There might be someone else operating the area who's already secured the money and is looking for businesses like you to spend it on or spend it with. So
true.
do keep a weather eye for you know just think strategically about what it is that you want to do for your business, and what help is already available. And that's where
Yeah.
they need to talk to someone like you, Anna.
Brilliant. Well, I think feel like that's a nice ending to the show. So Robert, if Robert is business is Wessex Partnerships, if they want people want to find you to to obviously go onto Amazon if they want to buy your book Grant Writing by Donald R. Melgren, but if they wanted to connect with you, how's the best to do that? Is that through your website or through LinkedIn? What's your favorite place?
The website wessexpartnerships.com is there. It's sort of sitting around waiting for people to come have a look and poke around. So you can have a look at that and see more about what we've done over the years. I tend to get more approaches through LinkedIn. I get more invitations to work with people through LinkedIn, so they
Mm.
can check out my LinkedIn profile, which says lots of wonderful things about me.
And if anyone wants to get hold of me, I'm the only Anna Bravington on LinkedIn. It makes it handy. Yeah, there was two of us, but the other one got married, so she's got a different surname now. So I'm just me now. And funnily enough, we both had the same middle name as well. So we were like two peas in a pod. Also, creatingthecurve.co.uk is the membership service and coaching that I do for STEM founders. If anyone wants any advice, and then check out more podcasts as well. So, thank you, Robert, so much for coming on this session. This is going to be so helpful to people because grant writing, I know a little bit about it, but even I look at it, it baffles me half the time. So I've been to some of Robert's training sessions, and it's demystified it slowly for me. But I feel like I still need to get a little bit more in there to be anywhere near as proficient. Probably another 25 years yet to get as proficient as Robert. So
All I say in reply, Anna, is you can take a step-by-step approach.
yeah,
There's lots and lots of information available in publications and online. There's a whole lot of stuff I've learned in 25 years I don't now need to know. I'm still learning
yeah.
every day. So I've learned this morning how to do a podcast. So that's been good. So yeah, so don't be don't be in awe of the process. Give it a go, and within a few months, you'll be talking like an expert, and I'll be very happy to speak to you then.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everyone for listening and hopefully see you on the next episode.